on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. And Andy Isco with us from Las Vegas today. Plus, first class, second class, no class. Glad that you're with us today. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, yesterday we had the finals of the College World Series, and one of the most unlikely champions that you will ever see. Oklahoma, who lost their last 4 regular season contests or series in Southeastern Conference play, were beaten one and done by LSU in the SEC. And went to Georgia Tech, one of the hottest teams in the country, in a regional as a 2 seed. Won last night 13-2 against North Carolina. We thought that going into this game there was going to be a lot of pitching, very, very short leashes for the pitchers that were available to them. There might be a good bit of runs scored in the game because of that. Well, there were. But all of them just about were scored by Oklahoma. A couple in the first, one in the third, and by the time they got 3 in the fourth, they had opened up a 6-1 lead. And from that point, Carolina was really playing catch-up. Instead of Boaz, North Carolina decided to go with Rose to open the game. He did not make it out of the third. And that was when the decision was made, Jimmy, and I thought this was kind of telling at this point in the game. North Carolina has 2 guys out of the bullpen that have been fantastic for them all season. Walker McDuffie and Caden Glauber.
Probably the best 1-2 bullpen combination in the country.
Sure.
I mean, they're in the conversation. If there's better, I mean, they didn't perform like it. They had the most clutch performances in the postseason.
And Glauber at this point to last night, had not played in a game, pitched in a game that North Carolina had lost.
29-0.
But both McDuffie and Glauber had pitched in this championship series. In fact, Glauber had pitched just the day before, throwing 65 pitches. Mm-hmm. He was available, but we use the word compromised all the time. Can you throw? Well, yeah, I can throw. But are you fatigued arm? Are you able to come back and do that? And the freshman
put the over/under on in innings in 2/3.
Yeah, and a lot of times, most of the time, the grand majority of the time, if you haven't done that before, you can maybe get away with it once, but you're probably not going to get away with it twice. And coming back on 1 day's rest after throwing that many pitches is just not something that's going to happen in the regular season. They would never have brought him back on such a short rest unless the national championship was on the line. Well, what happened? McDuffie threw 25 pitches and gave up 3 runs, and Glauber, to their credit, they knew immediately that he didn't have it. He only threw 7 pitches in the game. It was a 4-pitch walk. They got him on the clock before he threw the very first pitch. And right there, North Carolina had used up the 2 best arms that they had out of the bullpen, and they had brought them in when they were down multiple runs. I understand, there's not a lot of good decisions to make there when your best guys are fatigued. You're down 5 runs, the national championship's on the line. What do you do? Well, they could have gone to somebody else, but everybody else on the somebody else has pretty much got hit last night. Boaz ended up giving them 2 innings of scoreless relief, but that was out long after the issue had been decided. Oklahoma, on the other hand, was hoping for an opening performance out of Weslowski. And that's pretty much what they got. He got him into the third. He gave up 1 run, and they got the ball to the kid that they wanted to have pitch as much as he could last night, which was L.J. Mercurius.
The fielding, his fielders really helped him out because he had multiple runners on every inning.
Yes, he did. And There were some nice running catches in the outfield. There were multiple
To play
good
at
plays
third.
to play at third.
That's a bullet, man.
Yes, it
On
is.
a short
right. That's
you see,
very difficult.
He's
play to make.
smiling and laughing because he knows that was really good, but that was really lucky also.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
No. I mean,
How many balls? Okay, let's pause here in the game recap for a second to say how many balls like that did Oklahoma hit or catch in the tournament?
quite a few.
Yes,
Quite a few.
balls that found. Now look, they got hot and they won this thing. Okay, nobody gave them this thing, but yeah, they were.
Don't let Boomer get hot.
Their time, and sometimes this happens in baseball. Mercurius took them very deep into the game. He took them all the way through the eighth inning. Oklahoma just kept adding runs until it was 13-2, and they win this thing.
Oklahoma had more pitching depth.
Yeah, Mercurius was
played
able
the same
to,
amount of games.
right? And
Played the same amount of innings.
and they were
no
guys
extra innings.
they were guys that you during the regular season were just not that good.
Wonder what the whole team was.
Yeah, Mercurius especially because he spent so much time as their Friday night starter.
And then got replaced.
And was not effective in doing so. He pitched a lot of innings, but boy, he gave up a lot of runs and
Isn't
a lot
that a
of
tough
walks.
assignment, to your words?
Yeah.
That's a different deal, pitching on Friday night
Yes.
against some of those aces in the SEC.
Yeah.
And I think it was also part of 5 ER. Was it 5 or something ERA? In the SEC is not the worst thing in the world.
No,
and so when you go from pitching the SEC with a 5 ERA and you go to TD Ameritrade and now Charles Schwab, I mean, you might be able to be effective. He was way more comfortable in his role.
Yeah, what he improved was the walks went away. He was walking almost a guy
more
an inning.
comfortable.
Yeah,
And he could pitch.
Throwing strikes.
Now, in these dimensions as well, or in this park, the way it played, and it was. Forget the score. It was playing big. The biggest swing of the game did not reach the warning track.
Right.
And that's the catcher for Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were oohing and ahhing when this guy was swinging, and he got a hold of one. It didn't get. They were just, the pitching was so spent. How much on Glauber, who they're stalling? And first of all, Ralphie is missing wildly with all of his pitches, with his fastball, with his changeup, with his slider. Everything is missing. And to the point where he even exited with a 2-0 count when they brought Glauber in. Glauber, and they slowed the walk up there, and they went up. And because they just trying to get him ready, he had been working out. He looked like he had ample time. It didn't strike me that he was rushed in any way. They took their time. He had been warming up. And then he came in, and he's like, one more. I get one more warm-up pitch. And the home plate umpire, in a lot of his, he was not impressionable. No, you had it. And in the first pitch, he hits him with the timer. Yeah. It makes it 3-0.
Right.
He is completely unnerved there. So how much is it? He's fatigued. He's coming back. We know that. And how much is it? He's a high school senior, and he is rattled. He's F-bombing a guy.
Yeah.
It's
the toughest of positions. You're already behind, so the weight of the world's on your shoulders.
And usually that's Ralphie's entrance point.
Yeah.
They all love throwing him in, man, get us out this jam. And he throws kind of the junk, and he's not the most physically imposing. You shoot your eye out, kid. I mean, that's what he looks like. I mean, he looks like he's 10 years old. But and then they also, Glauber usually comes in fresh innings. And that was different as well. But neither of them could throw a strike. And when those two together walk 4 consecutive, I mean, and the Park's playing big. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, forget the score. I mean, they were done.
What happens when you get fatigued? Your command goes first.
There you go. Yeah, that's your legs and yes.
And in Oklahoma, they took advantage of everything. Willits had another big night. He had over 500 for the series. He's the MVP.
5 multi-hit games in College World Series.
They'll
playing shortstop.
They'll have some pretty good conversations over the holidays. His brother was the number 1 pick in the draft in 25, and Dad's
From where?
coaching. They're from Oklahoma, I believe.
Both Oklahoma?
I think so.
No. But the brother played at Oklahoma.
No, he high school straight to.
Okay.
the number 1
That's
pick of the
all right.
Nationals.
Okay.
He had committed to them, but he was the number 1 pick overall. All the way down to the 9-hole hitter, the second baseman Branch, who had 1 hit in the entire series.
The brother from the Georgia kid, was in the stands.
He had 1 hit, and he drives in 6 runs last night. Okay, I mean, when you say everything has gone,
he was hitting compromise pitching too.
He was, but he drove in 6 runs in a deciding game.
Well, one was a grand slam, huh, or was it a 3-run homer?
3-run, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's just but they were, in hindsight. North Carolina's got to take advantage of those scoring opportunities when they did, and they did have them. I was confused on Peterson's commentary because he's usually just spot on, but I disagree with him on the play, the single with 2 outs to right, early innings by North Carolina, the right fielder for Oklahoma. His positioning when he gets it, he's charged it very good. Did a really good job of really drawing it, catching it clean on 1 hop. Mm-hmm. His momentum is moving toward home plate. His distance is pretty. It is. I don't think it's an inch difference, Charlie. He is in dead right field, and he actually was drifting more toward home. And obviously, the runner going home is way slower.
Yeah,
he throws it to third, and the ball, third baseman's waiting on the slide.
Right,
and he's still a step and a half at least before the runner getting home. Yeah. And the easier plays at home. And he said, well, he doesn't get selfish here. Doesn't get greedy here. Like, well, wait, what?
I just thought it was such an unusual play. How many times do you see a runner in that situation, the runner at third base get thrown out before the guy crosses the plate? That's not a common play in college baseball, anyway.
It happens more than you think, and usually because I watch enough baseball. Usually because they're kind of dogging it, but just kind of
Cadillacing
and not really not owing. When you're on the base, and there's multiple base runners, you need to hustle. Especially with 2 outs.
All the time.
You need to hustle. And there's a lot of guys that are just kind of jogging in because they think they're in. Now, usually that's a play maybe for center field to left center, certainly left. But usually you see that a lot more. That's a shorter throw from center field to third than it is home. Does he trust the glove for the third baseman more than a mitt of the catcher? That could be into it. But I just thought it was – the easier plays at home.
It's a very, very unusual play. In college, I don't remember seeing it.
It happens. It happens more than. Let me just say, it happens more than you think.
I've seen it happen, but
what it usually happens is because the runner is not going off. And they talk about saying, I don't think the broadcast team says, I don't think the runner was not hustling. I think he's just slow. And he is. Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't like kind of Cadillac it or just kind of casual. No, he's just a lot slower than that guy. You don't make the third out at third though. You don't make the third out at third.
No, that's a cardinal rule. But
right.
I can't help but think that runner was so surprised to see that ball at third base when he got there.
Doesn't matter. You got to. I know to make the third out. To advance to third with 2 outs. You have to go in standing up.
No,
it can't be.
I get
it can't be close.
No, you're right. Obviously, he wasn't thinking because I can't imagine what was going through his mind. Really? Did that just happen to me?
Is he trying to draw a throw because he knows the guy ahead of him is a little slow? Maybe, but it was just.
If you're doing that, then you better be busting it.
The one thing though, it was a hell of a play by the right fielder.
Yeah, it's a great throw.
Even though it wasn't maybe the most sound decision, it was a hell of a throw, and he was. Man, they've had a lot of balls in this series about that were kind of tweeners. Like, man, y'all need to communicate better. with this, a lot of people running into each other. A lot of fielders.
That happened a lot in this World Series. Oklahoma, we've gone through a lot of these scenarios about how unlikely this is about the last 4 series and all that stuff. I had forgotten, Jimmy, what is the most common way to exit for a 2 seed in the regional round? You go in, you beat the 3 seed.
You lose the marble game.
You lose the marble game.
Fight, and you might. It's either the first or second game when you completely run out of pitching. You fight your way out the losers bracket.
You come back and you beat the winner of the 3-4, and then when you come back to play the 1 seed again, you lose. Okay. Well, the second game we've talked about a ton. The deciding 7th game at Georgia Tech, they're down 7-3 going to the 7th inning. They get it tied. They get the walk off, home run to center field. I had forgotten that in the first game against Georgia Tech, they were down 8-2.
Yeah.
In the 4th inning,
because there's so many games going on.
Yeah,
and it's easily hit. And we're like, Georgia Tech's going. If they don't win this, we don't win the next.
When you look at that thing and you see 8-2 in the 4th inning, you're like, okay, Oklahoma's done, right? So there was 2 different games against Georgia Tech.
If Georgia Tech would have used Patel in the first game against them, and he was money.
Yeah,
I mean, he shut him down for he finally got to 9,500 pitches.
Right,
but he gave him they were down 3-0 when he came in.
Yeah,
and they built a 7-3 lead. And then he finally ran out. But if he would have pitched the first game, and I'm trust me, the Georgia Tech coach is thinking about all that right now.
Well, that was the inning that kick-started. They were down 8-2 going to the 4th inning. Bottom of the 4th inning, they were the home team, and they scored 8 runs.
And Georgia Tech was better than North Carolina. They split 2-2. Yeah. Georgia Tech beat them in the ACC final. North Carolina and Chapel Hill won 2 out of 3, but they won the regular season title. They won the tournament title. They were better.
Yeah, and they got Georgia Tech in Atlanta. They beat North Carolina. This we could spend a lot of time debating on what's more unlikely, the Ole Miss title or this title.
I think this one, because Hunter Elliott was such a hammer.
And you had 2
he was
good pitchers over the top of that rotation.
He wasn't. Nobody hit him, no matter where they were playing, and he was the number 2, and they kept him in there. And Ole Miss was maybe about the same record. Okay, going
same conference record.
Okay,
14-16.
But 14, what they do in a tournament? Oklahoma was 14-17.
I don't remember what Ole Miss did in the SEC
first loss to Missouri
too.
Wait, no, it was Oklahoma.
Oklahoma in the SEC tournament? Yeah. They lost to LSU. Yeah.
LSU,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember if Ole Miss lost. I can look it up. I don't remember what they did in the SEC tournament that year. But
I would say we both picked Ole Miss to make a run. Mm-hmm. We didn't take Oklahoma to make a run.
No, because this pitching did not emerge until very, very late.
No doubt about it. So we're over here at Doe's Eat Place in Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. And think about Doe's, you think about those hand-cut steaks daily that are served up in a casual atmosphere that are just wonderful to come out and eat. They're legendary. Even in their original location in Mississippi years and years ago, starting off with those tamales and just a fun, just relaxed atmosphere to get a world-class steak. But the lunch menu offers completely different menu items that are not available for dinner. Served 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sandwiches, the club, the steak burger, the chicken sandwich, grilled, black and fried, the hot chicken sandwich dipped in the Nashville style hot butter, po' boys, seafood po' boys, debris po' boys, meatball po' boys, black and blue steak po' boy, the chef salad, the grilled steak salad, and the plate lunches. Now, there are generous portions, and then there are plate lunch portions here from Doe's. Spaghetti and meatballs, hamburger steak, the catfish platter, the country fried steak are all more than generous portions. At Doe's Eat Place in Government Street in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers. Go to SupremeRice.com, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026.
7 in a row for the SEC.
7 in a row.
How many different teams?
6. LSU repeated.
We a
that's
baseball
it.
conference now again?
Never stopped. Never stopped. When we get to first class, second class, no class today, I got a list of things that changed in my mind during this college baseball season, either sometime in the middle or at the very end. And some of these things are things that I believed about college baseball for a long, long time. And
I'm interested because I have some thoughts as well.
They're different now. With the landscape of the game and some of the things
the game lends
happening.
itself to some. I mean, it is May Madness. I mean, in March, in the spirit of House of Dragon, Charlie. I mean, Cinderella escaped March. She said, "To hell with this. I'm going to I'm going to flee to another castle in May." It's unbelievable how little the underdogs have a chance, and just how weak they are in the last two March Madnesses. And I just don't see any change inside unless they have this mass overhaul and they have a salary cap and things. It's a sport without a salary cap, and there are definitely haves and have-nots, and we know that. And in baseball, it's just not as you have the have and have-nots, but the three-point line gave the little guys more of a chance as well. Anybody with any athletic ability can go work on their shot. And if they can create a shot, they can be a weapon. You're talking about guys that just wouldn't be, you know what I mean? The guy for LSU last year, McKinnon. I mean, the three-point line, without three-point line, man, he can't play. He could barely play sometimes, but he can be a weapon at times. Now, he could be a little bit more consistent, but you can have those guys. You got that guy from Oakland, that team that beat did they beat Kentucky? Yeah. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy.
Oakland, Michigan. Yeah.
I'm watching him in the MAC tournament. Hoagie or Golke. Yeah. I mean, that was not. He was. He was something. Man, guard him. Calipari. Or whoever was coaching at the time. I mean, it was like, give me a break. But baseball, you play 162. And if you look from sometimes in the divisions, the difference between first and second place, first and last place, is 10 games. Sometimes, and that's with, I think it's healthy. I think that is healthy. We don't like it because you have a dominant program. The expectations are very high. But damn it, two out the last three ain't bad. Or two out the last four rather. But for 8 completely different teams to be participating in Omaha from year to year, that's healthy, and that says that even though Long Beach State and Cal State Fullerton and even San Jose, Cal Poly was obliterated in the Super Regional, you can still have an Oklahoma. You can still have the SEC. But there's
St. John's, Little Rock, these teams that made it into the Super Regional round.
But were really no threat to win it all. Troy was no threat. Troy was completely overmatched. And the other thing is that they played the fewest amount of games and ran out of pitching.
Yeah. Those circumstances have to help you out if you're going to be a program like that and pull a Fresno State in 08 or something like that. And I wouldn't necessarily include the 16 Coastal Carolina team in there because they were really, really
it's a good program.
Good. They were really good. That was kind of the beginning of their surge, but they were really good.
But it was also before. Coastal's a really good program, but it's not likely to do it with the players getting paid. They don't have the money to pay their players like the SEC teams do.
Well, just when you're getting used to this system, college baseball is bracing itself for what happens with the CBA for Major League Baseball. Last week, the Major League Baseball presented the union with a proposal that basically completely changes the landscape of college baseball by eliminating high school players into the draft. Now, the union is never going to accept this in its current form because it erases too much money going to the players. But the point is that this is on the table now. the draft going back to 10 rounds instead of 20, high school players coming out of the draft, the international draft being more regulated. And what that means is that 2 years from now, American high school players may have no choice but to go play college baseball. Pro baseball may not be an option.
Which way
for
more
them.
attractive.
And
way more.
And even now, you're
before
getting guys
you
that are
get paid,
coming
Charlie, it was still a competition for the better programs because it's such a higher quality of life.
Right.
And now, the nutrition statements, and you get paid. Now you're getting paid too.
Imagine if the first round picks were in college baseball. Now, I don't think it's going to end up like that. I think that there's going to still be a pathway for high school players to enter the draft when they eventually get this sorted out and we're headed towards a work stoppage in professional baseball. But it is going to change the landscape one way or another. I don't know exactly what they're going to agree to. Nobody does. But it ain't going to look like this. That much I'm certain of.
What is LSU's NIL? But what was it this past year? Their player budget.
They're kind of coy about what that is. But
I understand.
If I had to guess, it was probably, I hate to throw a number out there because it could be so wildly wrong. And then there's rev share numbers.
3.5?
I don't think it was quite that. But when you get to the rev share, yeah, you're probably in that ballpark.
What do you think the average, forget Missouri, the teams that are trying in the SEC, what's the average?
Probably half of that, maybe 2/3
1.5.
of that. Yeah,
1.5 to 2.
It's skewed a little bit because of how much money Mississippi State is spending, how much money Tennessee was spending before Vitello.
So this shows you, though, that now Skip Johnson's got a JC background, right? Doesn't he have a JC background? Or he was coaching? Was he coaching with Augie? Now, what's his background?
I don't remember.
He's very good. We know that.
Yeah, I don't remember if he coached in JC.
But he's got 15 JC players on here.
Yeah.
He's got how many freshmen? Three freshmen, starters. In Omaha. Never started a non-freshman. In their games in Omaha.
He coached at Navarro, but that was 20 years ago. So yeah, he has coached as a junior college coach. But it was a long time ago.
His salary player budget was around $700. So that's considerably less, and you can show that you can do it now.
And they were about to sink a bunch of money into Oklahoma baseball even before this happened.
As far as facilities and stuff?
Yeah, they have pretty much the worst facility in the league, and they were going to do something about that anyway. So now you can just imagine the donations are gonna up and expedite that. But I struggle to think about exactly what this landscape is going to look like 2 years from now, when the new CBA is in place, when you're a little bit more grounded in a 16-team league. We're still getting used to the 16-team league. And it's significant because it changes the postseason requirements.
Georgia was beating Texas, and their fans were chanting, and the players were chanting SEC.
Yeah, you're not real SEC. You're like you're like new SEC.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I hate to say it, but I'm still getting used to that.
I am. I don't embrace I don't even embrace Arkansas and South Carolina as much as I do, the Ole Misses and the Alabamas and the
Arkansas
Auburns.
and South Carolina. Missouri still doesn't fit in the league, in my opinion.
Arkansas is more to me than South Carolina. It's just and they've embraced it. They've done everything they can. A&M, Missouri. Missouri needs to go to the Mountain West.
I've accepted South Carolina. Missouri, I never could quite get there.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Doe's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man of many sports bets, the one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing fine on another day where we're about to hit 109 again.
Well, it's hot down here too. So
That is neither my winning percentage nor my golf score. It's the temperature.
yeah. So anyway, where are you at? What's your handicapping right now? Now that the NBA and NHL are done.
Getting more into college and the NFL. Doing a lot more right now on the NFL because those are the ones that I do more podcasts on right now as far as doing what we're covering. But I'm also devoting some time to the colleges. I usually go conference by conference, but I usually start that around July 1st.
So what are your early findings in the NFL in your research?
Well, one thing, I've made a couple of plays already on season wins, both in the AFC South. I was surprised the numbers are as short as they are on both Houston and Jacksonville. I got Houston over 9.5 and Jacksonville over 9. And keep in mind that Jacksonville won the division title last year at 13-4, and they did so with a reinvented and reinvigorated Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, largely due to Liam Cohn coming in and having success in his first year as a head coach. And I like to see coaches who have success in their first year and then build upon that success, assuming that the roster is pretty much the same. And I think they've got like 18 or 19 starters coming back from last year, which is a nice number. So I like to look for Jacksonville. I don't know that they're going to go 13-4 this year, but I only need them to go 10-7, which I think is certainly doable, because that would represent a regression from a sudden and severe jump last year, and yet still be a winning record and a playoff team. So I like that team, and I'm surprised that the number is not 9.5 or 10. And with Houston, they still have what I consider the best overall defense in the league. Stroud did not have as terrible a year as a lot of people suggest that he had. He had a nice percentage in completions. He had a decent touchdown interception rate. But what drives that team, the gears for that team, is the defense. And they won 2 division titles, and last year, despite losing out the division title to Jacksonville, they still ended up going 12-5 with a very impressive road win at Pittsburgh before they lost their next game. And and that was, I think, the game to New England, the one that followed the Pittsburgh game. And I look for that team to continue to be very strong defensively. D'Amico Ryans has done a great job as far as that defense goes. Of course, he was over there with San Francisco, which got him the job. It turned out to be, I think, one of the best hires you'd have to say over the last 10 or 12 years, considering the immediate turnaround that the Texans have had, and they've continued that for now 3 years. So those are the two that jumped out to me. Can't make any decision on Indianapolis. Obviously, the Daniel Jones situation is uncertain. He is expected to be ready for the season, but you have to wonder with the injuries now, are they going to be able to be as effective as they were last year, especially with no more Pittman at wide receiver? We'll see how some of the youngsters do, and how long will Indianapolis to be healthy. Now, they, of course, had that great start last year, and then Jones got injured, and they didn't win another game, I think, the rest of the year after I think they had that Kansas City game. So I wonder if it's just a situation where they achieved as much as they could do, and I don't know how much more they would have won with Daniel Jones. But they are an uncertain team in that division. And then you come down with the Tennessee Titans. I like a lot of what they did. I like the way Cam Ward came on at the end of the season. The offense really picked up nicely after struggling early. I think their win total is 6.5, which I think is a little bit too optimistic. I'm not sure if I'm going to play that one, but I would right now be looking to play the under. I think they will improve overall as a team, but whether they can make enough improvement to get even 7 wins this year, considering the schedule and the fact that they've got, 2 double-digit win teams in their division that they're going to face twice. I think Tennessee will be an improved team, but I'm not quite sure they can go 7-10 or better.
Andy, I'll agree with you, but not on the same basis, on a complete opposite basis as far as one of the points you made about Stroud, the quarterback for the C.J. Stroud. I think he was so bad last year, he can only improve his play in the postseason.
No. He was not good, but I don't think he is as bad as a lot of people suggested. Yes, he didn't come up big in the big games, but he had very little around him. There's no running game.
Yes, but he's also, we talk about supporting cast a lot on this show as far as evaluating NFL quarterbacks, period. And part of the supporting cast is your defense. and he is not asked to make a ton of plays, with that defense. It's almost. I was talking to a friend of mine. We were watching the Chargers game that Saturday late, and it's like, man, they're up 14-0, and he's like back-to-back interceptions is putting them, trying to get to the Chargers back in the game. We're like, man, it's almost like we got to take a Trent Dilfer approach. The year where they won with the Ravens. I mean, this defense is so good. He threw 5 interceptions into 2 playoff games, only 2 touchdowns. That's a lot. And, I understand he doesn't have the best supporting cast on offense, but that defense allows him to eat a ball instead of forcing into coverage and punt from time to time.
But you have to have a running game that the opponents respect. I think they have that this year.
The running game is part of it. Your protection is part of it. Your weapons are part of it. Your defense is part. Yes, it's all of that. All of that. But, man, I'm with you on it. That defense is the best. That defense is really, really good. I mean, they are something. So, Charlie, where's Stroud? I mean, he showed so much promise, early.
Yeah.
Now
I'm trying to think of a guy who has regressed as much.
If you don't have a running game, the defense is going to be 2/3, 3/4 prepared to go against the pass and put pressure on the quarterback, make him make plays because they don't respect the running game with every good reason because they haven't had a very good running game for a couple of years. So now that I think they've got I don't know if you want to call him an elite back in Montgomery, but certainly a really, really good back. I think the defenses are going to have to be prepared a little bit more for Houston offensively to be able to use the offensive game as a weapon and not just an excuse for the receivers to catch their breath after running downfield on first, second, third down.
I don't disagree with the running game component of it. I am struggling to think of a comp where a guy pops so much as a rookie, and I loved him as a rookie. I liked him so much better than Bryce Young, but that has regressed this much without an injury being a part of the conversation. At times he looked beyond lost. Almost at times he had a shell shock look on his face, and that is in such contrast to what he looked like as a rookie, what he looked like in his final season at Ohio State. That last game in the playoffs that he had, they lost, but he was so good. I don't know what has happened. Usually that takes an injury or a coaching change or something.
Yeah.
So the running game is as good a reason as any, but I don't know why.
I think it actually a little bit more of his weapons, going down. Tank Dell and Collins and Kirk, the availability of them was Tank Dell was a real find. I mean, he popped immediately on there, and I don't think he played it down last year. So
I think we'll find out this year in the first month or month and a half. Now that they can build an offense that is more balanced and that believes in a running game, and that should open up things, and we'll see just how good. Look, Stroud obviously in his first year showed that he has the talent when they had a decent team. Of course, it was a new situation coming in coaching-wise and all that. So I cannot look. He gave up on a guy like Trevor Lawrence, and all of a sudden it took 7 or 8 years, and he's coming into the same thing with a Baker Mayfield and a Sam Darnold. Now this is a situation of a quarterback being still with the same team, but you've had some coaching changes. But more importantly, you're giving them more weapons because you're getting more balance, and teams can't cheat like they did in the past. As far as we don't have to worry about the running game, we can just pressure a quarterback, make him make bad decisions, and when you're doing it, 70% of the time during the game, it's going to have its wear and tear effects as far as making the decisions.
Is Trevor Lawrence here to stay, though? Has he? I mean, you think it's sustainable, his level of play that we saw last year?
We will find out this year because you remember opposing teams had an entire offseason to pick apart why was he successful in areas where he wasn't successful before, and what tells that perhaps he gives the opponents this year or last year that they won't be able to get this year because they've been observed on all the film. You can only do so much when you break down film on a week-to-week basis. When you have an entire off season to do so, you can pick out a lot of things that were evident, but possibly because of the limited time between games each week, you weren't able to fully concentrate on and develop defenses against.
I thought of a comp. Maybe Jared Goff, who got the Rams to the Super Bowl in his third season, had a monster year, and then regressed so much in the next 2 years that the Rams traded him, and now has obviously found his career again. he popped right out of the gate.
And
Not his rookie year,
what
but-
was the sequence? What was the result of that, or what caused that? He went to a team that had a great offensive mind to teach him and develop him.
Well, it took him a little time. You know, it wasn't from jump with Detroit. That's for damn sure.
I always say the example that I have used for probably 30, almost 40 years now is Steve Young. Couldn't do anything in Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay was a bad team, a bad organization, didn't surround them with talent. Goes to San Francisco on the way to the Hall of Fame.
But Andy, I think what Charlie's talking about is when Goff was with the Rams, how his numbers declined before he was drafted. So because
I'm just saying that there are examples, quarterbacks, and we're seeing it now. Like I said, with the guys like Darnold and Mayfield. Now, yes, you have a legitimate question: can it continue with the situation we just talked about with Trevor Lawrence? We'll find out this year because now, as I say, people are able to analyze what made him successful last year after having years of lack of success. And if he can respond and if the coaching staff can respond to those responses, he'll be able to display the talent that made him the draft choice that he was.
Well, Lawrence had all the measurables coming out of high school and college, so that made him just such a hot prospect as a high school recruit, and also they would call him Peyton Manning with legs, with wheels is what they dropped him, over in Clemson. But the thing about it is all the intangibles were maybe delayed or maybe not even there, but man, the lack of stability and coaching and coordinators, I mean, it was a disaster at Jacksonville for so long. And finally you got somebody, that gives you some stability, and we've seen a little growth. And I think that will continue with the stability as long as he has a familiar support there. I think he was a little overrated, but he still got a lot of ability that we saw. I thought he just scratched the surface this year. I think he will continue to improve. Charlie, you think?
I've always been a fan. I think he, first of all,
his ability.
The
physical, yes.
Mechanically, he is sound. The arm is there. He's always been a real level-headed guy for as much attention
that's true
that has been on him.
Yeah.
So he would have been a guy I would have been comfortable handing the keys to the franchise to. I think a lot of it has been more circumstantial. I mean, we forget just how big a disaster Urban Meyer was.
Oh, no, I don't.
I mean, maybe we don't. We just don't talk about it a whole lot. That was among the worst situations for an NFL team in the last 30 years, man.
Yeah, no.
That guy made Rich Kotite look good.
Oh, no,
there are some coaches that excel at the college level, but don't make it in the pros. And, of course, a couple of high-profile coaches that we've talked about before. It's a different game. There are much different responsibilities in being an NFL head coach than there are in being a college head coach.
Well, there's a lot of guys working. There's a lot of guys working in all industries that don't try, that aren't real good either. So he just flat out didn't try. That deal with Jackson, that was a cash grab, to say the least. Yeah. All right, Andy, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. We will talk to you next week. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
All right, don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. K&M Automotive, 8445 Segan Lane, in between, just off of Perkins, between Perkins and I-10. Jason Payne going to give you an honest deal. You've heard those horror stories of getting upcharged for unnecessary work. Not going to happen. Now, listen, he's busy. He's busy because he gives people such a fair deal. He has such repeat business. So if you go in and he's backed up, he will give you a more convenient time for you and for him to get it done. So, but you're going to get an honest deal. You're not going to get upcharged and just taken to the cleaners because some work. We're not trained mechanics. We don't know exactly the work that our units do. The engine light comes on. I mean, just an oil change, brakes, tires, you name it. AC repair. Go by and see my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive, just on Segan Lane, just off of Perkins, across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Something we end up saying on this show a lot when we talk about sports gaming is people bet on things that they like to root for, right?
All this.
Okay. And sometimes those are really popular things.
Overs?
Star players, prop bets and things like that. Usually they doesn't work out all that well when you bet with your heart instead of your head. But sometimes it does. Jimmy, yesterday we had a three-leg parlay of the three best players in the tournament at the World Cup. Best players,
best forwards,
best
probably,
forwards. Okay,
maybe.
But the
Lamine
guys that are
there.
scoring the most. I mean, these are guys, but they're the most highly paid. They're the best players.
Messi, Mbappe, and Haaland. And you tell me Haaland is the best player in the world right now?
Messi is LeBron James.
Okay.
He's still very good. He's got the most accomplished. He broke the record for the most. His team just won it. They got over the hump. But LeBron he's still very good. But maybe LeBron 2 years ago, Max? Maybe.
Messi?
Yeah, right now.
Anyway,
That's
okay.
fair.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened. These guys scored 2 goals in the first match. They came
all
back, did
played
it
the
again
same
yesterday.
day. Yeah, they happen to all play the same day. They did it in the first match a week ago, and yesterday, 2+ goals for Haaland, Messi, and Mbappe. Huge parlay, 100-1, killed the sports books. Of course, they're all whining, but a lot of people got in on it, and good for them.
Good. Good for the players coming
buddy
back.
Mitch Moss bet 100 to win 14,000.
Nice day. Hour number 2, straight ahead at Doze, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then, why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And return here at Doze Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City for first class, second class, and no class. All right. First one's easy. Jimmy, tonight you and I are going to be attending a dinner honoring our friend, the late Ruffin Rodrigue Jr. He is being honored tonight posthumously by the Epicurean Society with the Mama Marino Lifetime Achievement Award. This is going to some of the legendary restaurateurs and members of the business in our area. It's going to be a fantastic evening, and we miss Ruffin so much since he passed, but this is a night he would have loved, and so I'm looking forward to going tonight to the Epicurean
party,
Society.
man.
It's going to be a good party.
It's a party.
Yeah.
A reception. Black tie affair. Cocktail reception.
We get the penguin suits out tonight, huh?
7 o'clock. The dinner and award presentation. Of course, it is the 19th annual Grace Mama Marino, a Lifetime Achievement Award dinner. Of course, Mama Marino's from Gino's on Bennington, and Gino will be there as well, and it's really a lot of accomplished restaurateurs over there. But Better Than Ezra performing after the after party. So, bottle service. You bring your own. Our buddy from Ruffino's, Chef Patrick Trahan, will be is one of the chefs, former Ruffino chef, who's now at Homeless House, Jeremy Langlois, will be there. Ben 77's Chef Eric Sibley and Chef Barrett Meeks of Mansur. So additional chefs, Jim Erdialis from around the corner at Mestizo, Lynn Oakley from from Oakley Food Works, Yvette Bonanno, and Albina Brahimi from Jabby's Pizza. So a lot of T.J. Moran, Gino Marino, Bobby Kirchhoff.
Some of the past
from
recipients of this award.
Yeah, Holly Clegg. Some really a strong company, man, tonight. And so looking forward to 550 in attendance tonight. Sold out for months. So we're fortunate enough to be in that number tonight.
First class also. The World Cup has gotten off to such a fantastic start, in my opinion. I want to run through a few things here. Number one, patriotism. Not just the U.S. team doing so well, but the visitors that have come into the country and the patriotism through the hospitality. And we get two political parties that spend a lot of time trying to tell you how terrible the country is because of what the other side is doing. It's been nice over the last couple of weeks to see foreign visitors come here, a lot of them for the first time, and say, man, this is really great. This is the best of America, and America has responded in kind. It's given me kind of a warm fuzzy that, you know what, we don't have to be told every day how terrible it is because we don't think it's terrible, okay? So have visitors come in such large mass and bring their traditions in. The Dutch Army, that mob of orange-clad fans following the bus, the Scotch drinking out, the Boston bars. Freddie LA has become kind of a little minor superstar here, and the Stars are scoring goals. We talked about it just before the thing. We can get into a good game no matter who's scoring, but when the Stars are at their best, everybody's got an extra eye on it. It seems like
more scoring's up. Period. What Nigel told us, on Friday.
Yeah. Nigel's another good example of somebody who's here.
What has been a common criticism of the sport. Not enough scoring.
Right.
Okay, man, you're playing your world championship at 0-0. After an overtime, we got to go to, free throws, penalty kicks. So, no, it's delivering to the point where it's been, the crowds are amazing. Now, we're fortunate enough to, it's in our country, so it's, the times of the games, the matches are, from, brunch to midnight snacks. I mean, we're fortunate to experience that, and be on the right side of that. But it's just, and listen, don't think that the winning doesn't hurt either. It's only going to build, and, maybe this coach has got a little bit of it, but also the assembling of this particular roster. And that seems to have worked out. The early impressions there that they have kind of maybe, I don't know all the inner workings, but it's just kind of a best individuals versus the best team is always kind of a like your boy from the Celtics, who was the defender, who was on the Olympic basketball team, Derek White. Well, he's not one of the best individual, but damn it, he's going to fit a role on this team, and so whatever it is, now give us an own goal to start things off, right out the chute, that helps, but just the home field event, it might be finally breaking through where the soccer enthusiasts have been telling us for 30 years they're about to break through. But, man, this team might just maybe the other teams were supposed to. They didn't get it done.
A lot of things culminating. You've got the home field advantage. You've got what could be a good draw that could get them to the quarterfinals based on the way the World Cup set this up. All three home teams, Canada, the U.S., and Mexico all have favorable draws. If they were to
who scored.
They're going to get a third.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, there you go. Ronaldo.
The highest paid.
Of course. 2+ goals.
He had scored like seven matches.
Harry Kane
plays
later today, so parlay that one in there.
No, a guy has the last leg, Harry Kane, who's been England's best player. Who's about. These are like the 5 most popular players in the world that are getting this deal. It's like chalk. Let's take them, to whatever. Have a double, have 2 touchdowns scored, have a triple, whatever the prop is that is tying all together. And I think he's got to cash out for 10,000. No, 100,000, or if Kane gets to 800,000.
So, but you got the U.S. who, a great coach, tactically is working wonders for them. Their work rate is the highest of anyone in this World Cup. That's the one thing they're probably the best at. They are pressing at a high level. They are bringing energy, and that's something that Pochettino's teams have always done. The Canadian manager is American. I thought he could do a similar thing. He's got Canada kind of doing a similar high-pressing energy. They're just on you at all times. And that's one thing that Pochettino's style fits this lineup. As you mentioned, Jimmy, it's not the best, highest quality. They're not the most skilled team out there, but they're athletic. They're pretty young, and they're really athletic. They're fast, and they have the ability and the energy with the fan base behind them to press at a high level and do things that at a national team level you're just not accustomed to seeing. And they're putting pressure on defenses to turn the ball over. It generates offense, and that's what we've seen so far, and we'll see if it can continue through the knockout round. But it's been a great fit together, and obviously, Charlie, to your point, it's really galvanized the entire country around this tournament, which maybe even the Olympics couldn't do to this level.
Second class, and I've got some baseball things that I want to talk about in the next segment, but Pelicans draft tonight. They obviously do not have a pick in the first round. There may be a trade that happens with them tonight. It could involve trading back into this draft. It could involve trading for a player. You could see Trey Murphy and or Herb Jones moved in one of these trades. Look, I'm not telling you I prefer one trade or another, or I prefer no trades. I'm stuck in such a quicksand with the Pelicans because I don't know exactly where they are going. I don't know if Zion is going to be the guy that they're going to build around, or if a move for another player in this draft means that it's a total rebuild. Trey Murphy is the last guy that I want them to trade, but I can't say that they have made any progress. I mean, you're talking about a team that has, won basically nothing, and especially the last 2 years have kind of bottomed out. You've got a GM that's making some, at very least, questionable moves, and I'm halfway towards it. Well, I don't want him to move Trey Murphy. Well, okay, then stay with the same team that you got. Well, okay, that team is going to finish last. Well, so what do you do? So I'm not telling you I hope they do this or I hope they don't do this. I'm curious to see if anything happens. So everybody's sitting here tomorrow and nothing has happened. But brace yourself for the possibility they could make a move tonight. And if they make a move to get into the first round, it's going to involve some significant pieces. They can't. It's not them moving up 5 spots.
Are you hoping for them too?
I'm hoping for them to give me something to hope for. I'm hoping for hope. Does that make any sense?
But it's hope just change.
So staying the same hasn't really helped them. The excuse for years was if they ever got healthy. Well, they were healthy last year for the most part.
Is it?
They didn't win anything.
I saw T-Bob actually made this point earlier. Isn't it a little frustrating to see all these former Pelicans succeed elsewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, Trey Murphy is the poster child if he's picked up by a contender for him to excel.
If he goes to Golden State, who wants him desperately.
I don't know if Golden State's a contender anymore.
I'm not saying
they probably aren't, but he'll do great.
I don't think they are.
Boston.
I'm talking about he could play a real piece for a team that can make a run. Then you want to see that? That's what you're hoping for?
No, but what are my alternatives? One of the trades that's been rumored out there is
and it would be do something. Their hands are tied because they traded the damn pick. You knew this for a year or two.
I did, and wasn't real happy about it at the time. Though Queen had a really good rookie season, but the way the team's configured, he can't play with Zion. So, what do you do? One of the trades
that's quite important.
That's a big deal. One of the trades that's been rumored out there, and there would be a lot of other pieces involved to it, would basically involve the Pelicans trading Trey Murphy to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown, and then there'd be a bunch of picks and other things involved in that. Look, Jaylen Brown's a better player than Trey Murphy right now, but he's going to be 30 years old. And before the season starts, he's on a monster contract. Can you build around him? Does that really help you? He's 4 years older than Murphy is. I know Jaylen Brown's better than Trey Murphy right now.
Jaylen Brown ain't going to New Orleans.
Well, and that's the other thing. Would he
ain't
even
going
want
to New Orleans?
Well, Boston could trade him, but does he want to go to New Orleans? I'm sure he doesn't. He's been on a contender. He's been on a championship team. You think he wants to go into a rebuild? Not a chance.
No,
believe me, there have been players traded to New Orleans before that didn't want to go and were forced.
But does he want to be a number one? I mean, maybe he does. He's kind of been second.
Oh, he does for his team.
Right. So, I mean, you can't be, the first guy on the Knicks. You can't be the first guy. Like, where you've got to step down in terms of the team.
Well, Miami was consideration. That's out now
with the Giannis trade.
I mean, you can't have it both ways. Either you want to be the number one, or you want to be in a big market and
as a number one, he's got his flaws. He's a one-sided player. He can't go to his left. So. But his comments were just. I mean, that was just. the best year, mostly the happiest I've been, or the best season I ever had, versus your championship. You know, the whole my team type of BS is so, man, they are screaming from the clouds how selfish they are. I mean, really, who cares, man? Just win. And you know what, Brunson doesn't talk about that. We know it, but man, he's all about, he gave up how many million? I mean, 9 figures he gave up on his contract to support before anybody thought the Knicks had any type of chance to improve his chances of winning. Something about his winning. That should be a little bit more publicized than a guy like Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown won the Finals MVP. I get it. But, man, he's a selfish player.
We'll see what the Pels do tonight, if anything. No class.
You just want to do something.
I would like to be interested again. I mean, I would like to go with some kind of
they're
hope.
Stuck,
you know?
They're not coming to pluck some of your weaker players.
No class. I'm sorry you guys have told me it's more common than I realized, but when you have a man advantage for about an hour,
come on,
and Turkey doesn't score, okay, I'm sorry. That's no class. You got a man advantage.
You can put Turkey in no class because they've flopped in this World Cup completely. They thought they might be the best team in this group.
They're not.
They're already out. They're already eliminated.
They're so bad in the view of this show, they've lost a syllable.
That's right, Turkey. I'm sorry. Look, Jimmy,
what goes into that? You don't call Ivory Coast d'Ivoire.
It took them so long.
We don't call Spain España.
They had a man advantage.
Italia.
They had a man advantage for as long as it takes you to watch that Dragon show that you like. Okay, and they still didn't score. With the extra time, it was an hour.
I'm still trying to get over.
In an hour. They had a man advantage.
Them Dragons were going crazy Sunday night, bro.
We've learned to watch hockey, right? I mean, their penalty.
There's 2 minutes. Well, 5 minutes if you really misbehave. Okay, this was an hour.
But soccer, you can just set up in a low block.
It's more common.
It's more players. It's more players. It's not 4 versus 5. It's 10 versus 11.
It's more common than you.
I accept that. I'm still putting him in no class.
Ronaldo's setting up for another free kick here.
That's his. I looked it up. That's his last goal that he scored was a penalty kick back against Ghana.
This is a free kick, not a.
Oh, that's a free kick. No, okay. Yeah. Well, it was a penalty kick against Ghana in 2022, but that was five games ago.
No class to the Wyndham Clark haters. A little bit out of line. Oh, up at you. I know you wanted to talk about this.
I'm glad you brought this up because. We certainly were all from the Sam Burns perspective yesterday,
sure,
as we should. But again, I was asked by a friend who went down in Fallen Oak with us and golfed, with us. And asked us, did Sam blow it? I said, no. Hey, he missed a putt, but he made a lot of putts too. I mean, he played. I mean, it's arguably his best day ever. I thought it was his best day. You want to talk about compared to par, it wasn't quite as good as the final round at Colonial. Maybe he had a better earlier round. Man, everything. There's some people that went to it, that go to a lot of the ones in New York, and even the New Yorkers are saying, we don't deserve another one. They're even saying it because of the shenanigans, okay? Yeah. And they said, like, Burns was the only one attacking the course. It's like he's the only. No matter what, Burns is not a needle mover by a lot of people because he had never won a major to this point. What if he breaks through? But he's way more of a needle pusher here than he is around the country, around the world. But he said, man, you got to. This guy was the only one. Everybody else was playing afraid of the course, in this, and Wyndham, was kind of holding on. But from the Wyndham Clark perspective, Charlie, I gained more respect for him. I like him more. I'm pulling for him. That was BS, the treatment he got.
Yeah.
I mean, half the people don't even know the damn story about him beating up the locker room. Okay?
He made a mistake. He admitted
it's a mob mentality, I think. A few people started rooting against him, and everyone just decided
people
to jump on
that. People talked about the 25-year-old. There was a bunch of them. First of all, it was lightly attended because the last train was leaving, and it's hard to get there. The locals discourage you from coming. They don't like it being, in the Hamptons.
It's ugly.
Okay? well, no, it's not. But it's you had nobody at the end. Yeah. But there's a New York crowd that wants to be obnoxious about something. oh, this guy did one. Okay, let's pull against him. It's not so much pulling for Scheffler. This guy pulling him. There's never been an American by experienced veteran people who cover the golf said we've never seen an American pulled so hard against on American soil.
Even Patrick Reed.
The week before, he's in Canada showing his patriotism, playing a whole round with a U.S. hockey to troll the Canadians. Now he got the treatment there. But, I mean, it wasn't a bunch of Canadians in the Hamptons. It was just to a point where, like, okay, and then them putting it at the right, where at the end, nobody's there on the course because you got to leave if you're going to beat the last train 2 hours before. So they're obnoxious when they're there, and then they're not even there at the end of it. It was a miss, man, on a lot of accounts as far as that's concerned.
Last one, Rafael Devers. We have seen this guy be a turd before, okay?
Yes,
when he was in Boston,
yes.
We're bringing somebody in to play third. No, I'm not moving to first. I'm not going to DH. Sunday, he may have topped even that. Giants are playing the Marlins. Devers, who had sat out, well, he had DH'd on Friday night because he's nursing a pulled whatever in his leg. And so in the top of the ninth inning against the Marlins, the Giant, he gets on to open the inning. Top of the ninth, down 2-1. So what do you do when you get the tying run on at the top of the ninth? You got a guy over there that can't run. You pinch run for him. So Tony Vitello, and I know people here are not wild about him, and we haven't been either, but Vitello does what you're supposed to do. He sends out a pinch runner, and Devers waves him off, refuses to come out of the game. The umpire's got to physically go over and say, you have to leave the game now. Look, the Vitello experiment's not going well, and the Giants aren't a very good team, and Devers isn't playing really well. He's hitting 230-something. You really got to show your manager up like that? I mean, how many times does this guy have to do this? At one time, he was a superstar hitter in the league. He no longer is, and he's still active. He's still a good player. He's still driving in runs.
That's the problem.
He's still driving in runs,
but
not at that level anymore. And you got to be a turd and show your manager up like this when he's trying to. The whole thing was just. That's that guy.
He's still a good hitter. He's not surrounded, but the lineup the Giants have is nowhere near what he had, for a while at Boston. And it's just you put him in a better lineup, a more potent lineup, he'll be driving in runs. Okay, he's just a turd. The reason, and he was shipped out of there because he was like one of their better hitters. You get Massaro about him, he'll give you a better. But no, his attitude stinks. And his attitude is not worth. He's not that good of a player. He's a good hitter, man. He's a good hitter, but he is not worth it with all the all the baggage.
He's hitting 238 with 36 runs batted in. We're almost at the halfway point of the season. He ain't worth the headache at half the price. But
Manny Machado has the worst batting average for those that qualify in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, they pinch run for him. Does he go back to the dugout?
No, but I'm saying he's better than that. There's a lot of guys with bad batting averages. Okay, he has no protection in the lineup as well. He's not worth the headache that he is as well.
Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Whether you're having the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, the parboiled rice, which is absolutely Jimmy's favorite, the low glycemic rice, perfect for diabetics. As we get closer towards football season, your tailgate parties, 4th of July coming up next week. So you make it with Supreme Rice, all of your holiday offerings. Pick it up at all of your Rouses, all of your Walmarts, all of your AG food stores, and get more for your food dollar. Also, support our Louisiana farmers. The Climate Smart program, reducing methane emissions and promoting water conservation. For more information, great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Things I used to believe about college baseball that I no longer do. We'll do that when we come back. Live at lunch here from Doe's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Come by and see us here in Mid-City. We're in the Crown Town Room as we are every other Tuesday here at Doe's Eat Place, Government Street in Mid-City. I've been following college baseball since the 80s. I love the sport. love the games. Obviously with LSU's success, been to Omaha many times covering that team. There's some certain things that I just had come to accept as truths in college baseball. And I've had my mind changed on a number of these things. And when I say changed, I'm talking about over the last just couple of 3 months, maybe since the beginning of the season, and certainly in the last month. See what you think about some of these things. I thought for a long time that the 4 seeds were nothing but filler in the NCAA tournament. They had no chance outside of a complete fluke to make any kind of run at all. The first 24 years of the super regional format that debuted in 1999, only 2 4 seeds got to Omaha. One of them was at Fresno State Miracle in 2008 where they won it, and the other one was Stony Brook, who came through here with a once-in-a-generation team that just happened to have a bunch of draft choices on it. But now, just in the last 4 years, Oral Roberts has made it to Omaha as a 4 seed. Murray State has made it to Omaha as a 4 seed. And we had 2 4 seeds this year that were in super regionals in Little Rock and St. John's. Another 2 teams that kind of felt like 4 seeds, even though they, in the case of Troy, they shouldn't have because Troy's much better than that. But Troy made it there as a 3 seed. And Cal Poly made it through the regional. They didn't have to play UCLA, but they made it through the regional with the number 1 seed. We saw the death of Cinderella, or the at least extreme exodus of most of Cinderella in the basketball tournament. I don't know if this is going to continue for a long time, but I can no longer just say the 4 seeds are cannon fodder. Some of them are, just like some of the 16s in the college basketball tournament. But even with NIL, even with rev share, and I know that doesn't trickle down to baseball and all the programs like it does here, but the 4 seeds – and this is not just this year. This is over now 4 or 5 years. Have at least a stake in this. Where, how many years in a row, Jimmy, did we see a 12 seed make it to the Sweet 16 in the basketball tournament? It was a lot, right?
Every year.
And now I
over 2.
I wonder if we're going to get to the, maybe not every year, but at least every other year you get a 4 seed into the super regional round, and maybe every second or third year you get a 4 seed to Omaha. It just feels like it's a lot less far-fetched than it was. When you go 24 years and you get 2 essential outliers, but now it's starting to happen more. So that's one thing. I don't think the 4 seeds are cannon fodder anymore. Second thing, we had numbers in our heads with the SEC that were rock solid. I mean, with very, very, very few exceptions over the years. If you had 14 wins in the league, you were in the tournament. If you had 17 wins in the league, you were hosting at least a regional. And if you had 18 wins, you were pretty much a top 8 national seed without exception. Just this year, and I could go back a couple years, but I'll just do this year. Vandy won 14 games and stayed home for the tournament. Arkansas won 17 games. This is Arkansas now, and did not get a host site. And Alabama and Florida each won 18 games. They were both national seeds, but they were right there on the bubble. They were the 7 and 8 seeds, and we're not talking about swapping conference games. We're talking about swapping a couple of non-conference games from W's to L's, and they might not have been in the top 8. Because of the schedule discrepancy with 16 teams, you're missing 5 teams now. You used to miss 3. If you missed 3, it was really unusual if you missed all of the top teams. Now the chances of you missing the top teams and 14 wins not being enough to get in, or 17 wins not being enough to host, are magnified. So I don't think that those numbers hold anymore. There's too many teams left off of your schedule. So those numbers that we've adhered to for years, I don't think are etched in stone anymore. Number 3, you have to have a winning conference record to win the whole thing. I just didn't think you could come from completely out of nowhere. I know what Fresno State did, but I consider that an outlier. Well, Ole Miss, were they an outlier? Okay. Now you've got another team with a losing record that in conference play in the regular season that has won a national championship. And listen, it would not have shocked the world if Ole Miss, once they got to Omaha, had won this thing and they were 15 and 15 in league play. The Southeastern Conference is so deep that, yes, we now have to acknowledge one might have been a fluke, but now you got 2 or 3 that either won it or could have won it. I think you got to say, hey, listen, and for LSU fans, I was kind of the same opinion. Once you got to the beginning of May, they had buried themselves so deep. Listen, even if they get in the tournament, there's no use. I don't think that anymore. If you play in the Southeastern Conference and you get in the tournament, you've got not just a 1 in a million shot. You've actually got a shot. So I don't think that a losing record in the league is a death knell anymore. Next thing. I thought for a long time the LSU's home run record of 188 home runs would stand forever. It caused them to change the equipment, for crying out loud. And they've changed the equipment several times since then, the balls and the bats. Georgia came within 9 home runs this year of LSU's home run record. If they had gotten through the losers bracket and made the finals, they would have had a legitimate chance to beat it. 2 years ago, Tennessee hit 184. And now they won the national championship. They played as many games as you could, but they were only 4 off of it. Wes Johnson at Georgia is recruiting to his ballpark, which I would. You've seen that launching pad. He's not going to win with pitching and defense over there. They're going to hit a bunch of home runs. I think LSU's record is going to fall. It's a league full of hitters ballpark. Maybe LSU will break it. That's certainly possible. But I used to think that record was untouchable along the lines of Cy Young's 500-plus wins in the big leagues. I don't think that anymore. And number 5, finally, we've long held to this because it was something that Skip preached for a long time, that you needed 2 things to win a national title. You needed to have your lineup set by April 15th. He used to call it tax time. And you better have a number 1 pitcher. You've got to have an ace. You could have holes other places in your lineup. You could have a poor fielding team. You could have some holes in your bullpen. You could have some, a team with not a lot of speed. But you better have a number 1 pitcher, and you better have your lineup set by the middle of April, because if you don't, you probably don't have a team. I think the transfer portal has taken care of one of those things. I think that there were plenty of lineups that weren't set by the middle of April by teams that turned out to be pretty good. One of them just won the whole thing last night. And there are teams that don't necessarily have number 1 pitchers that we think of as number 1 pitchers, first-round draft choices, or guys with ERAs of 2.5 that have won this thing. Mississippi State did it 5 years ago, and Oklahoma, they didn't have their number 1 pitcher set really until the super regional round. So I used to think, if you don't have a number 1 pitcher and you don't have your lineup put together, and those things were true when Skip was coaching. I just don't know if they're true anymore. So, and my opinions on a lot of other things are going to change if this CBA passes with the radical changes to the draft that they've got coming. But these are things that I've thought for a long, long, long time in college baseball that don't necessarily think they're all true anymore.
And there's enough there for you to think that these aren't just. This Oklahoma team wasn't just an exception? Well, there can be exceptions to rules.
Yeah, I thought that when Ole Miss won it. Now that I've got 2 in 5 years that have won it, and Mississippi State wasn't an outlier. They were 20-10 in the league that year. But Ole Miss this year was 15-15. They could have won it. I mean,
so what are the rules now? What do you have to be?
You have to get in the tournament from the Southeastern Conference. If you get in the tournament, you got a chance.
This is 2 out the last 5 years.
Yeah,
the team with a losing record has won the whole thing out the SEC. The team with a losing conference record in the SEC. Of course, Charlie, with the expansion of conferences, the schedules are more weighted. Yeah. Yes, yeah, that's. I mean, that's.
And your team coming together where you had a lineup set by April 15th. I think with all the transfers and everything, I think you don't know as much about your team at the beginning of the season as you used to. Not even close.
Talk about Texas football schedule. The first year they were here. I mean, look at a team like Indiana. The first year they made it. I mean, that schedule was atrocious. Give somebody LSU's schedule. I'm gonna tell you who's got a LSU's football schedule this year. He's got a really good one this year too. Check out Ohio State's football schedule. They play like Oregon, Texas, Michigan, Penn State.
They go to Indiana, right?
I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah. I mean, it's a good one. They've got a lot of good. This is a really good schedule for LSU. We know about that, especially home, but it's tough also.
Charlie, we got a little breaking news here.
Just real quick. I used to say the non-conference schedules didn't matter in the SEC. I don't think I can say that anymore either. The non-conference schedule for Vanderbilt was 246 this year. They won 14 games in the league, got left out. You used to be, you could schedule whoever you wanted. It really didn't matter. I think it matters now. I think it matters.
And the schedule also was why, Alabama got a national seed.
Yes.
It's why Troy got an at-large bid.
And some of that stuff is the midweek teams in your state being better, but those 4 non-conference schedules, they matter.
But also the conference schedule that you have. Now, nobody could have figured that LSU would have been so weak this year.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so some of that plays out, and you can't really plan for it. Home run record, there were 31 home runs hit in this 15 games in College World Series this year. I can't find a record for some reason. That has to be the record in downtown. 30 more than 2 a game in that park. I mean, come on, man.
Probably
so. The throw, the velo, everything's velo, exit velocity, and arm, in pitching velocity. Everything is about that. It's creating, more and more home runs. So yeah.
Breaking news, you said?
Yeah, we can save it for the next break. I know we're running a little late, but
okay. Go ahead. You want to tease it?
We've had a lot of Sorsby news. How about some more? Why not?
Oh, more Sorsby news. Okay, this will be great.
Oh, jeez. What could be new out of that? You want fewer AC breakdowns, low energy bills, year-round peace of mind? Join the Total Maintenance Membership Program. Just call 480-0007. Regular maintenance keeps your system running efficiently while catching problems before they become costly repairs. If repairs are needed, they're backed by our lifetime warranty. Need a replacement? Financing is available. Total Maintenance, your total lifesaver. 480-0007, 480-0007 in the Elite Membership Plan, and that's the way to go. Service 2 times a year, 50% off diagnostics, 15% off repairs. All repairs come with a 3-year warranty. $39.95 a month. You get a sign-up bonus of $200 credit to use later when equipment does break down. You need to replace equipment. You can use that money that is built up in your credit. $39.95. Half of that money goes straight to your credit bank as well. We call them TM Bucks, Total Maintenance Bucks. So it's a great system with an app to notify of a breakdown as well. So again, call Total Maintenance for all the details, 480-0007, 480-0007.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Parlay's heating up, Charlie. Ronaldo, he's got 2 as well.
He's got 2.
This is like, a superfecta with a bunch of Baffert horses running in California. I mean, these are the most popular players in the world. The over bets are just the most square bet there is, and they just plow them in and they come in. This is the 2 Golden Boot finalists, Mbappe and Messi. They played 7 games apiece. One scored 7, one scored 8 for the tournament. Mm-hmm. So multi-goals for this many guys. I mean, scoring. What America? Well, we don't like lack of scoring. All right, let's get some more scoring. It's like this thing is rigged, man.
We know people who think
I know, but I mean, it's got some juice. And then, we know that the Harry Kane is one. But it's not unlikely for people to throw Ronaldo into this multi-goal fest, especially when they're playing with the house's money.
No, he'd be
today?
Absolutely in the mix. He's one of the most popular players out there.
What is a Ronaldo, Harry Kane, just a 2-teamer pay today for multi-goals?
I'm not exactly
sure. That'll be $100. Got to pay about $10,000.
Harry Kane is plus 230 to score 2 today against Ghana.
Plus 230, and what was Ronaldo? He had to be more. He hadn't scored in five matches.
Yeah, but he's so popular. You might get a lot of bets on him. And he's their striker. Like, they have one sole striker. I'll try to look up what the price. I would imagine about the same. So
you're coming in too low.
You're going to get 10-1.
10-1, that's it.
15-1, maybe.
We're griping about 10-1
yes.
now.
Yeah.
First world
and by the way, he's got it in the first half. It's not even halftime yet.
Yeah, he could get a hat trick easily.
Rocking chair. Tell me about Brendan Sorsby.
So we talked about.
We got some more help, legal help or counseling.
Actually, the opposite, really.
So where would you draft him? We debated. What would you?
I said
because
I think because of his gambling risk, he would be a 3rd rounder at best for me. But 4th, he's got a chance. third or fourth. They go, I got it. He has the measurables. He has had some progress, but he also the mental part of it. And what I've seen with a guy like Deshaun Watson completely ruin his career. What is just the effect? His skills are there. I mean, he didn't deteriorate and get 20 years older all of a sudden. It's all of the nonsense he's been with in the heckling in the stands and things like that has turned into just a horrible player, one of the weakest players. So I'd say third or fourth, but I would lean to more a fourth.
I thought he could go in the first. It won't happen. The NFL draft has declined to have a supplemental draft this year. They will not hold one. That means he has to wait until the 2027 NFL draft. Per a letter obtained by ESPN to Sorsby, this is according to Pete Thamel. Adam Schefter is also reporting this. The supplemental draft, which hadn't been held since 2019, says your petition filed 3 business days before the deadline without any supporting information or documentation, and only after abandoning your recent litigation efforts to avoid NCAA sanctions, does not provide a basis for the league to alter those plans not to hold a supplemental draft.
Is this being labeled as essentially a 1-year suspension for him in the NFL? Is that what?
He wouldn't have played this year anyway.
No, but he can't even go to a team in practice.
That's a big deal.
True. Yeah. I get it, Charlie. I understand. Yeah. It's quasi.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember, when Terrell Pryor was suspended at Ohio State, the tattoo gate, and went to the NFL supplemental draft.
Remind me, went to the supplemental draft.
They inherited his suspension.
Yes, that's what I remember. He inherited what he would have been suspended for. They suspended him in the NCAA from Ohio State, and he was like, well, the hell with you, I'm going pro, and it won't follow me. And the NFL honored that suspension. Is it essentially what the NFL is doing here? They're holding to precedent. What college football said is you are suspended for this year. Next year we'll talk about next year, but you are suspended for this year. The NFL is essentially upholding that suspension.
My understanding was Pryor's team had initially agreed with keeping the five. I think it was a 5-game suspension that they kept.
I just looked it up. It was 5 games. Yeah, I'd forgotten how much it was.
Was that what it was in college as well?
That's what it was going to be. Yeah,
there was 2. It was going to be 2 at Texas Tech, right?
Well, that's what Texas Tech said, but the Big 12 said you're suspended for the year.
Okay.
So eventually Pryor's team appealed, and they failed on the appeal. So he did serve a 5-game suspension. But, yeah, I think this is fairly
just for tattoos? Was there other stuff? It was
improper
just the tattoos?
Benefits. But
yeah,
it was an improper benefit. He had also he had swapped some autographs and stuff for cash, but the tattoos was what got him caught. Okay. Yeah.
The NFL just doesn't want to mess with this, and I guess that's fair.
That guy missed it because
they're taking a bit of a stand. This is going to be an awkward little football for them to handle.
They suspended Calvin Ridley for an entire season for a lot less than this.
This is the NFL saying,
we don't want any part
from my understanding.
And so, don't you think that the teams?
The NFL reporters,
it would be a trickle down?
Yes.
Jimmy, the NFL reporters mentioned that this was going to be very difficult for the NFL to suspend him because he was not part of the union yet. It's easy. The line of demarcation is easy to suspend players once they're part of the union. But because he was not already part of the NFL,
then this is what Charlie's saying.
He would have had to agree.
They had to act indirectly to keep him from.
It's a de facto suspension without having a suspension.
They had to go through a hoops to give him a suspension. Yeah.
We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store. The Pierre Part Store also open in LaRose and Lockport. You're doing summertime construction. Get your lumber delivered from Lockport and also from Pierre Part. You're doing some improvements around your property. Get expert advice from our friends at all 4 of these locations. If you're doing outdoor cooking, there's no better place to get your equipment than the Thibodeau Store. From your small grills and griddles all the way up to your big green egg cookers and all the accessories, patio furniture, pool furniture, outdoor cooking equipment, outdoor power equipment. You get it all at the Thibodeau Store. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau and Highway 70 in Pierre Part. All 4 locations are represented at the one website, thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping things up here at Doe's. NBA draft tonight, Jimmy. Last thoughts, DeBoncha or Peterson first?
What's that?
I said last thoughts on the NBA draft tonight, DeBoncha or Peterson first? What do you think?
DeBoncha.
Yeah, I do too. Wizards have the first pick tonight, DeBoncha from BYU. Also worked out for the Jazz, who've got the number 2 pick. Peterson did not work out for anybody but, or did not visit anybody but Washington, but he is expected to be the second pick.
Right.
And regardless of whether they go, in either order, and I'm with you, I think it's DeBoncha first. Cam Boozer expected to go third to Memphis. Caleb Wilson, the big man from North Carolina, a top 5 pick, and probably at number 4 to the Bulls. And after that, it gets a little bit tougher to pick. You got Mikael Brown from Louisville. You've got Keaton Wagler from Illinois. You got Darius Acuff from Arkansas, and you got Kingston Flemings from Houston. All of those guys will probably go in the next 5 picks or so. The order is a little bit murkier there.
I like the kid from Illinois too.
He is in the latest mock draft from
Wagler.
Wagler. Yeah,
Wagler.
He is picked number 5 in the latest mock from
about 6'7".
He is 6'5" and
That's
1'9". That's what he's listed at. From this deal.
6'7" for all the kids out there.
Also see 2 Louisiana kids go in the first round tonight. Cedric Senac from what was Houston. Chris Senac, excuse me. Senac.
That's the kid from Newman.
Went to high school at Newman and then in Missouri. He will go in the first round tonight, as will Alan Graves, who spent last year at Santa Clara. Both of those picks will come off the board, probably late teens into the 20s tonight for the NBA draft. Thanks to Doe's Eat Place for being our host today. Tomorrow we are at Roca Pizzeria. From all of us here and back in the studio, Jordan, have a great afternoon, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.